In this video, we will discuss the top 5 things to consider when choosing the right lead generation partner. We've outlined 5 things to evaluate, beginning with experience. What are the things you should look for regarding experience? 2, what is their depth of services and why is that important? 3, we'll talk about structure and who and what functional roles will be involved in managing your project. 4 is process, specifically what is their process from kickoff to implementation to communication. And lastly, your overall comfort and confidence. So let's jump right in. When it comes to experience, what are things that you should look for? Well, one is how many years have they been in business? Do they have some longevity? Are they tried and true? Have they demonstrated sustainability and that they'll be around in the future? What's their industry experience? Do they have experience in your industry or your market? Do they have experience understanding the challenges of your industry, your market? Do they have experience calling the personas or the functional roles that you're targeting? And if they don't, what have they done that may be similar? Next is, what is their depth of experience? Do they have experience working on a diversity of project, or is most of their experience centered around a specific type of project or a specific market or application? Do they have experience working on both products and services? And the reason that this is important is because it demonstrates that they have experience working through a diversity of challenges. What size of companies do they have experience with? Do they have experience working with companies similar to your size, your structure, your challenges? And then lastly is, what's their reputation? Do you know anything about them? Do you personally know anyone that maybe has used them or knows something about them? So these are some things that you could evaluate regarding experience. Next, let's talk about depth of services. At a very high level, you want a partner that you can scale with as your needs change. If your needs increase or change, you want a partner who has the ability to scale with you. If not, then you will be forced to find an additional partner or maybe a completely new partner. So when you look at a partner's depth of services, here are a few things to look at. One is lead generation channels. Can they generate leads through multiple channels, including calling, inbound, outbound, emailing, and not just broadcast emailing, but do they have the knowledge, the experience, the technology platforms to execute strategic email sequencing? Other channels that you want to look at is, do they have experience with ads, pay-per-click, SEO, social media, LinkedIn? So you want to know what their capabilities are in generating leads through multiple channels, or do they primarily focus on 1 or 2 channels? Another thing to look at is their marketing capabilities and services. Marketing and sales are becoming more and more integrated. A good partner will incorporate and utilize marketing services into their campaigns and their strategies. And if the partner doesn't have full marketing capabilities and services, then that means they will need to tap into your staff, and that's going to increase the workload for your staff. And if you don't have these services internally, then the partner doesn't have them. Most likely the partner will work around it, thus not providing the most effective approach, strategy, and deliverable, which ultimately will mean lower results for you. Some things you may want to look for would be, do they have graphic design capabilities? Do they have web services, landing page development capabilities, content creators, and more? So those are some things you want to look at from a marketing capability. Thirdly is CRM. CRM is the hub of any good lead gen program. And as you engage a qualified lead gen partner, there will more than likely be some things you will need to address inside your CRM. If you do not have internal CRM administrators or developers, then you will want a partner who can provide these services. If not, you will once again be required to engage another vendor to support you. Another area to consider is, do you want or need the partner to work inside your CRM? If so, does this partner have experience working with your CRM platform? If they're going to work inside their CRM, who's responsible for getting the leads inside your CRM? Is this something the partner can do for you, or is your staff going to be required to do this? If your lead gen project, your campaign, or initiative start generating results, you will find more and more needs for improving and enhancing your CRM. So finding a partner that has CRM capabilities is going to be very, very important. Let's take a look at structure. There are a few things to look at when evaluating structure. You want to identify the roles, the functions, and the positions of who will be working on your account. There's many functions required when setting up a lead gen project or a campaign, and some of these include there's data procurement, importing data, management, administration. Someone is ultimately responsible for the design, the development of the strategy and the approach. There's call outline development, email messaging, content creation. Someone must design the overall process of how all of this is going to work together. Then there's the actual execution. Who's going to be making the calls? Who's launching the emails? Who's managing the sequences? Who's responding to the inbound emails? Someone's got to create reporting, dashboarding, analytics, setting up the KPIs. Someone must do analysis of data, metrics, so decisions and adjustments can be made. There's overall project management. This is all the behind-the-scenes stuff, managing the SDRs, managing the digital staff, ensuring the data is being worked effectively. Then there's the account management. This is the person who communicates with you. So based on these types of functions, there are a few things you should look for from your partner. And some of these include who and how are all of these things going to be managed. Ideally, you're looking for multiple people managing these functions versus one or two. It's kind of back to the depth of services that we talked about. Does the partner have dedicated resources who perform these types of services? You don't want your account manager also doing daily tasks like calling, sending emails, managing data, etc. You want your account manager to have time to manage the overall account, analyze the data, the results, make key decisions. So there's several things you want to evaluate regarding your partner's structure. We've looked at experience, we've looked at depth of services, structure. Now let's take a look at process. What is the overall process the partner will use to manage your account? Here are a few things for you to evaluate regarding process. What is their kickoff process? How are they going to learn your product or your service? How are they going to learn about your market and your objectives? How will they go about designing and developing the strategy and the approach to achieve your goals and your objectives? And just as important, who's the person that's designing this overall strategy and approach, and what is his or her experience? Project management process. Who's the team assigned to your account? Who and how are they going to do the things we identified in the structure section? Is it one person wearing many hats, or is it multiple resources? How do they handle lead qualification? Do they use a BANT score? How do they ensure that the leads that are sent to you, in fact, meet your criteria? What's their lead approval process? Are they scheduling appointments, or are they simply sending leads? If they schedule appointments, do they have the capability of populating on your sales reps' calendars? What's their communication process with you, the customer? How often will they meet with you? What are the metrics they're working to? What visibility will you have into the daily activities, the reporting, the dashboards? How do they make adjustments when things aren't going as planned? From my experience, I can tell you things do not always go as planned. What options and resources do they have when things don't go as planned? Once again, this kind of gets back to the depth of services and why that's so important. So take time to understand your partner's process. Lastly is comfort and confidence. Sometimes your final decision may just come down to your overall comfort level with the partner. And part of this includes cost. probably more than cost, is value. Do you feel comfortable that you would be getting the value for the cost? Some other things to consider in arriving at that comfort level or establishing that confidence in the respective partner is your personal experience. What has your experience been from start to end? From the moment you were introduced to this partner, what has your overall experience been? Have you had the opportunity to meet with multiple people inside this partner? And if so, did they all provide you with confidence and an overall comfort level? Overall, how does the partner compare to others that you've spoke with? Lastly, do you have any personal referrals or information on the partner? Remember, every partner can give you referrals. Companies only ever give good referrals. I'm referring to, do you have any personal referrals from someone you know that has recommended or actually used this partner? At the end of the day, comfort and confidence is a big factor in your final decision. Well, we reviewed several things to consider when choosing the right lead gen partner. It's very important that you take the time to evaluate your partner. Lastly, keep in mind that there may not be the perfect partner. However, there is a best partner for you that meets your requirements. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. We want to thank you for tuning in.